Yo, welcome to the Gig Life Podcast. I'm your host, Stevie Taylor. Today's episode, it's a bit of a full circle moment for me because my guest is Dave Varriale, the host of I'd Hit That podcast. One of the reasons why this show exists. Back in the day, Dave and his guests on I'd Hit That were my companions on every drive to and from gigs, and it was the DIY magic of it. The handheld Zoom recorder, the in-person unprepared hangs, and yeah, of course, the legendary 2005 Ford Escape mobile recording unit. But here's the twist today. This time, we're flipping the mic. Dave's been asking the questions for all these years, and now it's my turn to throw them at Dave. We get into his story, New York, Spain, LA, and now Austin, Texas, where he says he was thinking about escaping Shawshank, and the music took him towards the real Texas blues and the shuffle. And of course, because it's Dave, we also get into the stuff nobody says out loud. Why? Because most guys play it safe, says Dave. Why the best stories come out when the recorder stops recording, and why he still believes audio only is its own art form. I am very honoured to bring you this one today. This is episode 172. Dave Varriale. Here we go. I think we're rolling. Dave Varriale from the I'd Hit That podcast. Here we are, brother. How are you, man?
I'm in Austin, Texas.
There it is. There it is. Happy New Year to you, Dave. It's nice to see you again, man.
Happy New Year, brother. It's good to reconnect. You know, I meant to tell you the last time. I've been meaning to tell you this, that first of all, are you Italian at all?
No, but I get that. I get that a lot.
You do. Thank you. That makes me happy because even just when I used to see your picture,
yeah,
I used to think to myself, like, if we could just get this guy dressed up in like a tracksuit and like a wife beater, guinea tee, get you a gold chain, you know what I mean? Like, you could totally fucking play that guy. Like, we could just be like, Vinny, what's up, Vinny?
Yeah.
You know?
Galacha.
Well, okay, I wasn't thinking Vinny Kulaccia, but like you could be like, you know,
another Vinny. Well, okay, I've got a video I'm going to show you. Like, I used to be in I still kind of am. It's sort of inactive, but a hip hop band, and we wrote and recorded the song called "Shoot Baby," and I'm the boss. I'm the mafia boss. I'll send you this video, and I've got the suit on.
Yeah.
You know, and I was a lot bigger then. I had big, fat, fucking 8 chins. And
yeah. More chin than a Chinese phone book.
Exactly right. Right. So, like you alluded to, we connected just before Christmas. And, you know, it was, and that was our first sort of actual talk, meet up. And, you know, we connected way back when I first found your podcast, the I Hit That podcast. So I want to tell people about that a little bit, and that, you know, how I came about knowing about your podcast and how much it's influenced me and how big of an influence it was on this particular podcast. So, you know, for the people that don't know, there's a podcast called I'd Hit That, and it's, you know, it's hosted by our man here, Dave Varriale, and Dave goes around and he interviews drummers, and that's how it sort of started anyway. So that podcast was, so Dave and his guests were my companions in all my car trips to and from gigs from about 2015 to 2018. So it was like you were my companions. You were next to me in the car, and I couldn't wait to the next one. And I stopped playing. You stopped doing the gigs and stuff, and, you know, was still listening to the podcast. And there was one episode. It was like a behind the scenes episode that you did, and I remember the exact spot where I was driving actually when I was listening to this episode, and the idea popped into my head that hey man, like nobody's doing anything like this in Sydney or Australia for that matter. So I thought, wonder if I could do that here. So what I did next was I got home, and I don't know if it was that exact day, but I sent you a message on Twitter, and I said, "Oh, Dave, I've got this idea of doing a podcast sort of similar to yours for the Sydney scene and the Australia scene. What do you think?" And you said, "Go for it, man." And and if you'd said, "Oh, nah, don't do it," I wouldn't have done it.
I wish I had said, "Don't do it." Tonight, I wish I told you never.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So I just you are the inspiration behind the Gig Life podcast, and all that you did and all that you do with your podcast and your style. And your style of podcast. I mean, and this is when podcasting was very, very early on too, right? So you're a sort of a trendsetter. Is that the right word? Trendsetter? No, probably not the right word, but you know what I mean. Your style was you had a Zoom recorder with the XY microphone type sort of setup, and unprepared. You would just meet up with these people, your Zoom recorder sitting on a table, or you'd be holding it out in front of them, holding it in your arm so they could hear, giving you a massive bicep, or you had the mobile recording unit, which was your Ford Escape, was it?
Ford Escape.
Sir. Yep.
Excellent. Well done. 2005.
Yep. 2005 Ford Escape. So the guests would sit next to Dave in the car, and the Zoom recorder would be in the car, and these conversations would happen in these places. And yeah, man, I just again, I want to thank you for all the podcasts you made and the ones you're going to make in the future, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And yeah, man, and I'm happy to be sitting here talking to you again, but with the record on, so people can sort of because you never gave too much away about yourself in all those conversations you had in all those episodes. So we're here to sort of flip the switch there and get to know a little bit about Dave. So good to have you here, brother.
Thank you, Stevie. I appreciate that intro. That's super kind of you, brother. I really do. I really appreciate that. And
thanks for coming, Dave. Good to talk to you, mate. Yeah. Catch you next time.
Exactly. No, it's good to be back. I mean, because Stevie and I had talked previously, as you said, before Christmas, and man, your boy Dave was just unhinged and just just spilling all the secrets. And I mean, I named names, bro. I was like, I showed him the Epstein files. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's like, turns out you can't do that. You have to redact. You know what I mean? You have to have like crossed out names and whatnot. So everyone thinks they want to know all the names but like we have decided as like government leaders that you're just not going to know that stuff. The Gen Pop can't know. You can't know certain things. It's not appropriate. You're not ready.
That was awesome. That was.
Thank you.
That was a show in itself. There could be.
By the way, I'm still, as you can tell, I'm still unprepared.
Still unhinged. Yeah. And did you have your filter on for Christmas? I know we were messaging after, and you were.
I'm really not good with the filter. I was gonna do it for you. I don't have them here though. I should put shades on and do Alex Van Halen, because we talked about the modern drummer. Yeah. Alex Van Halen interview, and he's like in his house, and by the way, he's wearing shades. There he is.
Yep.
I can't stop I can't see. I can't even like pretend to be different. I gotta be me, baby. And we'll just jump right in and just bash modern drummer. Yeah. That was such a horrible interview. I mean, You asked me last time we talked, you're like, did I read the Alex Van Halen book? Yes. What did you think? And I was like, what a disappointment.
Yeah,
what a disappointment. Alex Van Halen, like, nothing there. What an angry guy. He can't even acknowledge Sammy Hagar. Like he's, by the way, I didn't even get into this. The guy's like 70, right? Reverend Al. I mean, a Christian? Reverend Al, like a man of God, can't let go of the anger. Can't forgive Sammy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Won't talk to Michael Anthony. Like Reverend Al.
Yeah,
you know
come
what
on.
I mean?
Come on.
There's no rhyme or reason there. And then, goes on the Modern Drummer, always with the shades. I think he's embarrassed to be Asian. I don't know what's going on with that. Like, he got to cover the eyes. Like, what's with Alex Van Halen? That's what I'd like to ask him. Like, what are we covering? What are we hiding? And David Frangione just, I mean, come on, he ruins everything.
So this, what the interview we're talking about is the Modern Drummer Metal Sticks. It's with Nico McBrain and Frangione, and they interviewed Alex Van Halen, and we were talking, weren't we, saying it should have just been Nico and Alex.
Yeah,
I mean the input Frangione had there was he was just telling everybody how many drum kits he owned and his old museum, and how he owns a couple of Alex's old kits. And
I think he went off on like a tangent about sound men and everything, and you're like,
no, well, that was Alex. Yeah, Alex.
Yeah, but it was like, why would we know what I mean? Frangione or something. And it's like, why do we care what you think about anything? Like, just shut up and just like that one glass eye can just like, like look at the ceiling, or you know what I mean? Like, it's like a slot machine. You know what I mean? It's like, I just don't, I don't know, man. He really rubs me the wrong way, that Frangione. And I'm another Dave with an Italian name, and perhaps a fellow glass eye man. But he really rubs me the wrong way, this guy. I'm like, I want to know, where do you get your money? Where do you get these drum kits? And why are you so boring? Why do you hit the right to go out doing interviews and be that boring? I mean, Alex Van Halen says, I'm going to do a new record. I'm working on a record with Steve Lukather. And they're just like, wow. Like, no follow-up?
Yeah.
Who's on bass?
Yeah, yeah. Where did you record it?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, can we get something else? Another question. No, there's no follow-ups. Horrible. I mean, every time Alex Van Halen has come out with it's just been awful. I think someone needs to grill the man for real, Anyway.
So, yeah, I was thinking about, because I think you'd said to me, where did Frangione, he come from? And the first time I had heard of him is I used to listen to there was the Modern Drummer podcast with the two mics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then that one day just ended. Right.
Oh, I have a story about that, by the way.
Okay,
I do have a story for you that we did. So my brother used to work with a guy. I can't say his name, so redacted.
Yeah.
He worked at Modern Drummer.
Right. And
so early on, like after I started, I'd hit that. I don't know how far into it, but not that far. This is a true story. He told my brother this. There was an emergency meeting called at Modern Drummer about and they were called in, and they were all in the room, and they were the guy, whoever. I don't know if it was Frangione or not. I don't know. I don't know if it was Slot Machine Face, but he said, there's this new podcast. And it was like, they were talking about I'd hit that, and they were like, we got to fucking do something. Basically, it was like, this show is crushing us, and we need. That's true story. Mm-hmm. He told my brother that they were very threatened, and I was so happy to hear that when I heard that, because again, like, in fairness, I loved Modern Drummer. I mean, I'm an old dude. I mean, that was the gold standard, Yep. And so all respect and everything. And it was like the place and the magazine and the one and only. But as I've told you this before, it's like when Drumhead came out, the Jonathan Mover magazine, I mean, he just like leaps and bounds. You know what I mean? No comparison. Like, Modern Drummer looked like a children's magazine suddenly. Mover just took it to this whole other level. And I don't know. I mean, I don't really look at Modern Drummer anymore. And I know a lot of guys, that's still going to be their goal. Like they want to be on the cover of Modern Drummer. And I understand that, but I feel like it's like I know Playboy magazine is not really a thing anymore, but it's like a girl like trying to get on the cover of Playboy in that final year. It's like, it's over, sweetheart. You know what I mean? It's over. It's not what it was. You're not going to be Pamela Anderson. And I mean, Modern Drummer is always going to be Modern Drummer, but it sucks. It just, I will never stop saying that. It sucks. I'm not going to be nice about it. I mean, Frangione, like, who the hell are you, bro? Like, what did you get any information on him? Do we have any intel on Frangione?
No, I don't, but we'll find it. We'll send we'll send the midnight crew out to suss them out. But it's
odd that he thinks he's interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Like you're not a front man, and you always have to be a front man. You're always in the video, like, let's do the kit, and it's like you're not interested.
Yeah, I agree.
You should be a behind the scenes guy, you know.
And this is what was disappointing about there was the podcast with the two Mikes.
Yeah,
Mike Dawson and Mike Johnston. And
he's another one, Mike Johnson. Let me tell you something. Never mind. I won't.
Okay.
Redacted. Okay. Redacted.
Okay. So that podcast just stopped one day, and then it was back on, but Frangione was there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who the fuck's this guy? Where did he come from? And then, of course, there was more videos starting to be made, and like you said, the kit rundowns and other stuff that was new with Modern Drummer, and I would always think, well, who's this guy, and why don't you get Chad Smith doing something like this?
Why don't you get the fuck out of here, Frangione?
And bring Chad back, or get a name there. Someone with a personality.
Chad Smith. Why are we still wearing a backwards baseball hat? Like, why? Why? Isn't he in his 60s?
Yeah.
Come on. Like, I mean, you have to wonder, at what age is it just like enough's enough? Is he going to be 72 with a backwards baseball hat? You know what I mean? These are the deep questions I ask.
These are the deep questions. That's it. That's it. Did you see the latest one of his little videos? He's on Neil Peart's kit.
No,
he's pretending to play it because he knows he'll get in trouble if he plays it. But it was.
I was going to say no. I mean, I don't want to say I don't dislike Chad Smith. There are people who are. We've seen too much. I just feel like there's guys where it's like, I mean, Lars Ulrich, I give him credit. He's sort of stepped away, right? He doesn't really do that thing anymore,
just plays. Yeah.
Yeah. Like now Lars is just like, I'm done. I've talked. And it's like, good deal. Chad Smith, just step away for a little while, just a little while. Like, we don't have to see you in everything. Dave Grohl stepped away because I guess it happens when you just like, well, I don't know. I mean, who's fathered more children, Dave Grohl or Dave Varriale? I don't know, but but Dave Grohl like could. It's good that he goes away for a little while. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There's people like, just take a break. I mean, we've talked about that. I mean, there's a lot of guys who they don't know how to take a break. But we'll get back. We can delve more with that. I can go unredacted, but
That'll come back around. So, all right. So,
this episode, by the way, is going to be called. The subtitle should just be the Epstein Files. Okay,
the Epstein Files. Yep. And
then we're gonna expose.
That'll get the clicks. We're
going to expose people. That's the whole.
100%.
Frangione, we got your number, but we don't know who you are. Go ahead. Tell me. So
you're in Austin, Texas now.
Yes.
You're originally New York.
I'm a New York guy, yeah.
You're a New York guy. You spent a lot of time in LA. You spent a lot of time in Spain. Mm-hmm. You've been sort of all over the place. And we'll bounce all over those locations today, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what got you to Austin? How did you get there?
Yeah, so I was living in LA before here, and that would have been, I moved here in 21, and at the end of 21, and I had been thinking about escaping Shawshank, LA, before COVID hit, and then COVID hit, and that slowed everything down, and they were just such maniacs there that I couldn't wait to get the hell out. So, it was a good time when it was a good time. I really enjoyed LA for many years. Best weather, no question. Best weather. My favorite. I'm from New York. It gets cold there. I don't like the cold. But I came to Austin, Texas. It's interesting. I've thought about this where, like a drummer or a percussionist, and it's like, well, I want to learn, a certain style, and they go to the country. I'm thinking more of like, I don't know, like the percussion people who they want to do tabla and they go study in India, you know what I mean? This kind of thing. And it's like, I was always obsessed with shuffles. Always. Always. And I'm not talking about a Bernard Purdy, which I love, but I mean like a Texas shuffle. And, and a lot of it was like the music. It took me to Austin, Texas, because I'd been through here on tour years ago, and I'd been through Austin, Texas, with my ex, like I had dropped in. It just felt like the right spot for me. And like I said, musically speaking, I was really interested in exploring that, like playing real blues here in Texas.
And have you explored that with your playing? I've seen some videos of you on YouTube playing some gigs out there. Mm-hmm. So what is the scene like the local scene? Because you're actually a little bit out. You're a little bit out of Austin, aren't you?
I'm north of Austin. I'm in Cedar Park. But it's, to me, it's just become like LA, where it's like, you could be in Burbank in the Valley, and then someone's out in Malibu, and, to drive from one point to the other is an hour, but it's all LA, Okay. And it's like that here now. It's just so big and spread out, from Liberty Hill to Bastrop. I know none of this means anything to you, but like someone listening is going to appreciate that. It's like, it's an hour, but it's all Austin, Texas at this point. So the answer is, have you heard that it's known as the live music capital of the world? And it's just because it's so big and spread out. There's so many gigs, and so many places have live music. They hire live bands, So it's true. There's a lot of work here. I will say that for live work, there's a lot of work. Can't speak for studio, but you're probably better off in Nashville.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So in those different little live scenes, is it certain types of music in an area, or can you be like a versatile cover band and play all the way around Austin, all different parts of it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like everywhere else, it's become globalized, and just, everything's everything. And yeah, exactly. You could be in a cover band, and you could be like in an indie thing, and singer-songwriter, and just everything. I mean, there's probably hip hop here. I wouldn't know, but I mean, the thing that you can still find here is you can find like blues bands. You can find it. It's actual thing, or what I love, outlaw country. I'm not a big Nashville country guy, but I do love some Merle and Waylon and Willie and Johnny Cash, and
so that's
Hank Three.
That's outlaw blues, is it? That's
outlaw country. Yeah,
like outlaw country. Sorry.
Yeah. I think that spirit is alive and well in Texas. So I think that's also a thing I love. I love Americana. I would say the umbrella, everything under the umbrella.
You're also now a qualified barber. Like
I'm
barber,
a licensed barber.
licensed barber in Austin, Texas.
I like the way you say it. I like the accent. I like that. Barber. I can't. I love it. It's fun, you know. I love it.
It's easier to say than barber.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Barber. That sounds like that's a lot of work. It seems like a lot of work on your face, you know. Because I'm a New Zealander too, so I've got a. I don't know if you probably might not be able to pick it up, but you know there is quite a difference between the Australian and New Zealand accent, and you know I've been in Australia for quite a long time now, so I've got this hybrid accent that
we need to at some point talk about Phil Rudd, who lives in
New Zealand. He does. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, and because prostitution is legal.
Yes.
Like, do you remember when he was arrested for plotting a murder?
Yes. Against the pimp.
Yes, and they would interview and they'd say, "What are you going to do? You know, what's next?" And he was like, "Well, tonight I'll be doing a lot of fornicating." Yeah. So good. Phil Rudd. I mean,
what a player. And he's been quite an influence on you too, hasn't he, as a player?
That was you've asked me that, and to repeat, yeah, like early guys, Phil Rudd, 100%, Phil Rudd, Frank Beard, Phil Rudd, and I told you, and Alex Van Halen, which is like so odd, but yes, those three were my earliest, and Michael Shreve.
Right. And that's the Santana guy that you couldn't remember his name, right? I remember.
No. It was
someone else. That was.
Yeah, I don't remember who that was. No, I always remember Michael Sheave's name.
Okay.
That's a good question. I don't know who. Now you've got me confused. I don't know what name.
We were talking about an artist, and you said this guy plays drum. Well, you were talking about that drummer, and you said he plays for this.
No. It was the guy who played for Sly and the Family Stone.
Ah, okay. So.
That's who, because one of my earliest drum teachers played for Sly and the Family Stone, but he wasn't the original guy, the legend. And the original guy was on I'd Hit That. But I still, even tonight, I can't remember his name. And other people.
So I've Googled it here. So there's Greg Erico.
Yeah, there you go.
That's him, is it?
Rico,
is it? Right. I apologize.
Yeah.
There was a Jim Strasberg from 74 to 75. There was Adam Veneer from 70.
No, his name was Guy Fabrio.
Okay.
I don't know if he's listed there or not, but it was probably literally like the Family Stone and not even Sly. You know what I mean?
Okay, right. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So anyway, we've cleared that up. So that's good. Good.
No, those are my guys though. To getting back, yes. What were we talking about? Because I'm all over the place. You can't. I mean, you know that.
That's fine. That's all good. I expect that. I would expect nothing less.
Yeah, we're all over the place.
No, I was gonna ask you. Or we were talking about because you're a certified barber, right? Yeah. Oh, that's right. And you were making fun. You not making fun, but you liked how I said it. So, you know, what made you become a barber?
A barber. Well, you know, I told you, got to make money.
Mm.
I mean, you gotta make a living, and I was out here doing the drummer thing, and playing.
As a player, you came out to making a living playing. Yep.
Yeah, because what happened was when I got here in November of 21, it was still technically COVID, and what happened was there were all these bands and artists who they were like, I have a drummer, but he's afraid, basically. Like that was the basic gist of it. Like he's not ready to go out and do gigs in public.
Okay.
Because remember, I mean, people forget already. Like there were people who were just afraid to go out and be around crowds. And I was like, yeah, I'm not afraid. I'll do it. I'll do it. And so that's what happened. I got here, and within a week, I had like a bunch of gigs, and I just was running around with, luckily, GPS on the phone kind of thing, because I don't know where the fuck I am.
Mm.
And I'm just like, just give me the address, I'll be there. And it's like, it's Texas, so it's massive, and it's like, oh, this one's over an hour long drive. This one's 45 minutes. This one's north. This one's south, and you're just all over the place. So I was doing that for like 4 or 5 nights a week, gigging, and then, as I've told people, I mean, I think it's a lot of it is just the travel. Is what kicked my ass, after a while. It was just like, okay, I'm just tired. You know what I mean? I'm just fucking tired, bro. Like, I want to do this anymore. I don't want to keep driving. The playing is easy, we always say that playing is free. It's everything else. And so I was having another child, and I was like, yeah, I gotta I need to make money, like, consistently. And it just seemed like something that I would be good at, and I'd never done it. I'd never cut hair. I just thought I'd be good at it. And working with people, and I'm not a work from home kind of guy. I like the analog, working with the hands. It's old school. It's traditional.
And the place you're working at now, and it is an old traditional type barber, right? And you dress as such, and the chairs are old style, and you straight razor, and you wet shaves and that kind of stuff, and not as many clippers as there are. There's probably more pairs of scissors and razors than there are clippers, that kind of thing, right?
I mean, yeah, we call them shears, Stevie. No,
shears. Okay.
Totally. I'm messing with you. We do straight razor shaves, and hot towel straight razor shaves, and shear work, and then we do use clippers. Just, they're called detachable blades. They're old school. They're metal blades, not like plastic guards.
Yep.
And yeah, it's, I mean, I would encourage people to come to Texas. You can come to Austin, Texas, and I'm at Cedar Park Barbershop, and you should book with me. You should come, and you should have a session with Dave.
And Dave will name names.
I'm going to tell, there's no redactions. When you're in the chair, that's the beauty. Yep. Like, you get to sit there and say, like, so tell me what was, Steve Ferroni really like, Dave, tell me what you really think about Frangione, like anyone. You name him, I'll tell you about Rudy, the son of former New York Mayor Rudolph Giuliani, Mark Giuliani. I'll tell you the truth about all of them. You know what I mean? I don't care who it is.
You sort of mentioned this idea of, and all the stuff you say would need to be redacted for this to happen, but like a multi-camera type show of you coming in with your guests, and you sit down and you have a conversation with your guests while you're cutting them up. So
you were talking about, like, when I told you, like, I had an idea where it would be like, I would do episodes where exactly like they're sitting in the chair, and so if it's like, I'm trying to think of someone just for fun, and why am I blank? There's so many like shaved head guys now, like Kenny Aronoff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so maybe Kenny, I could give him like, the head shave, and while we're doing,
Yeah. Okay, but okay. Here's the thing. So, okay, that hurt. Okay, you nicked me.
But like that would be fun, or giving someone, I mean, I don't think Zach Danziger would let me give him a haircut. I think he's a little too. That's like Larry David over there. You know what I mean? You don't just. I think
move around too much.
he's just very specific. He strikes me as someone who would have a lot of trust issues with that, and he wouldn't be quite ready for that. But it would be fun to be able to give someone a haircut and an interview, and I think that would be fun for people. But we talked about that. I mean, I need a 3-camera shoot. I need a boom man. We're talking editing. I would need Thelma Schoonmaker. Scorsese's edit. I mean, I need what I'm saying. It's going to be a high. Anyway. I'm searching for budget, and anyone listening who wants to. Fund it. You come to Cedar Park Barbershop, sit in my chair, we'll talk.
Yeah. And you have the acting experience too. So let's talk a little bit about that. So this is pre podcast, I'd hit that podcast. And again, we'll bounce around. You tried the music thing. We'll talk a little bit about that. And when you decided that you weren't going to take that, that wasn't going to be your thing, to be doing the music thing. You've always sort of had a love for theatre and film and acting and that kind of stuff. So you followed that path for a little bit. So tell us a little bit about how that came about.
Yeah, that was it started in high school. I was a senior, and I had never done a play or anything like that. And I was doing the play the senior year, and I didn't know what the hell I was going to do after high school. I was thinking about joining the Marines. That was my big plan. The Marines were excited because I told them I played drums, and they were like, "Oh, great, we have bands. You could be in the band. You could be playing. That there's entertainment needed. You know what I'm saying? And you could be." And I was in my mind, I was like, "No, I want to be infantry." What a fucking idiot kid. And so, I had no plan, you know what I mean? I knew college was not going to happen. And so the director of this play at my high school in New York, she was a professional actress, and she was like, you're very good at this. You're very good. And I went, okay, sure. And she was like, hey, if I get you an interview with the Lee Strasberg Theater Institute, which is the school, if you've seen the Actors Studio, if you've heard of the Actors Studio, it's the school that he started after that. So I was sure, go ahead, get me an interview. So she did. She set up an interview, and I went and did the interview, and they just took me. And so it was something to do, you know what I mean? After high school, that's how I saw it. And I went and did that. And then I got some parts, and I got a part in a film. And then I had a friend who I'd gone to school with, and he had become an agent in LA. And so because of all of it, really, he got me into the agency. And so I moved to LA when I was, I don't know, 21, something like that. And I was there for about 2 years, and going out on auditions for just, it's usually a lot of shit, to be honest with you, out there. It's a lot of horrible, dumb shit where it's street mugger number 3, you know what I mean? That kind of thing, you know what I mean? And, so it wasn't all that interesting to me, quite frankly, the acting, the whole Hollywood world,
All right, let's roll right back to want to find out how you got into music and what that those early days and the musical influences were for you. So let's go back to New York, early days New York. What was it that got you interested in music and got you interested in drums specifically?
Yeah, so I had my my mother's sister lived in the Bronx with my cousins, who were all older than me. They were all boys, and one of them had a drum kit. We had talked about this it was a Tama, because he would ask me once, what do you remember what kind? I was like, no, it was black, and because I would have been 8 or 9, So I don't remember back then that kind of stuff. I remember it was a clear head on the front, Tama, and I even remember like a felt strip. I couldn't remember all that, but I want to say CS Black Dots heads, but I would just go in his room when he wasn't there and I'd play, and that's where it started. I liked, like I said, I liked AC/DC and ZZ Top and Van Halen. I liked Men at Work. I liked Phil Collins. These are like early 80s.
Yep.
But, you know, it's some ways horrible taste, in some ways impeccable taste, you know. I don't know. You know, I'll just say this, that I've had since where, you know, maybe it's like a parent or something and they have that thing where they're like, how can I get my kid excited about, you know, an instrument? This kind of question. And I'll say this, that what's interesting is looking back, I don't think my parents ever had to tell me to go play the drums. I think that they had to come down and be like, it's dinner time.
Yeah, that's enough. Just give us a break.
Yeah. Exactly. Like you didn't even do your homework. Get the fuck up and go upstairs. You know, you need to like take a shower. You know, you smell like little man. You know, and so I just want to throw that out. Like I think you can't really manufacture that, like true passion and drive that a kid has for something. No one had to force me, like, go practice your drums. So when you ask that, like, what started it, it's like, I don't know how you even, like, were possessed.
Yeah. Because, you know, people have those stories where, you know, it was Bringo on the Ed Sullivan show, or it was, you know, it was some people, it's a pitch, they see a poster or just an album cover and go, fuck, that looks cool, I want to do that. You know?
Yeah, I told you, like, I mean, Michael Shreve, my older sister, watching Woodstock, you know, and the drum solo, and hearing he's 16 or 17, and it's like, that seems within reach when you're 9 or 10. Do you know what I mean? You're like, hey, okay, like, I could do that, you know? I have like 7 years, you know? That seems like an eternity. And then you hit 17 and you're like, holy shit, that dude was 17, you know? Yeah. So
how was the development of drums then? Did you get lessons?
Yeah, no, I got lessons. My dad was a trumpet player, so he hooked me up with guys he knew. And I hated that initially. I hated all the rudiment stuff. And then I told you, like, I ended up at Berkeley.
Yeah.
Like a summer, and I've talked about this on the show even, I would mention it. Like I did this summer session between 10th and 11th grade, and there were just monsters there that it was like a summer session for kids who were thinking of going to college there. And so you get a taste of what it's all about. And there were like these rehearsal places, I told you, like in the dorms. And it was like see-through. You could like, and there was this guy, and I to this day, I'm like, I wonder, was that Abe? I don't know. It was like some big dude. And he just was a fucking monster. It was like the first day I was there, and I just thought like, oh God, holy shit. Like I am not even a tenth of this guy's chops. And just the more I hung out, the more I saw, like, you had these people who were just incredibly talented and just had chops for days. And there I was like, well, I like Phil Rudd, you know, so I like Levon Helm, you know, it just didn't quite feel right. And I was like, well, I don't fit in here. But I did have a good time because I was in the city of Boston. I was about 15, and they treated us like college students, so I would just go out all night, you know, and I was having a blast. Like, at least I did that. I had so much fun.
Going back to those dorms, and I mentioned this to you when we were talking before Christmas. There's a drummer here, Jackie Barnes, and he actually, he studied at Berkeley, but he talked about those dorms, those practice rooms, with sort of the see through, you can see in there, and he'd be in there doing his practice, or he'd be waiting for somebody else. But there was like Matt Gasker was there, like Jackie's waiting at the door to go in and do his thing when Matt Gasker's finished doing his thing, you know what I mean? So then Jackie would be in there doing his whatever practice, and then there'd be a wall of people there just sitting there watching him, intimidating, man.
Yeah.
All right, so you decided at that stage Boston's heaps of fun, but outside of the college, I don't think I want to, pursue this professional chippity choppity type sort of, as you would say, right? Or is it choppity chippity? What do you say? How do you say it?
I actually stole that from Sean Pelton.
Okay.
Choppity chippities.
Choppity chippities, yeah. So you've decided you don't want to be that guy, right? So what happened after that?
Well, don't forget that was like, so after that I went into my junior year of high school, and then and by that point I had gone to 3 different high schools already, like freshman year and sophomore year. Those are 2 different high schools, and then junior year, a new high school, and then I got suspended a few times there, and it was a sort of like, well, we don't really want him back here situation. And then I was at went back to, like, for my senior year, I went back to a school I hadn't been at since 8th grade. And so, like 4 years of high school, 4 different schools, because I everything was unredacted. You know what I mean? To talk about, I just was Mr. No Filter, and just couldn't be tamed. And this is what I'm telling you, like, I had no sense of what to do next. And that's why I was like, well, I'll just go to the Marines, because they'll make a man out of me, and they'll give me, direction. Because I knew I was like fucking up, and always in, like, I lived in detention. I had every day after school, I was in detention. It was like, breakfast club every day. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just needed some direction, because it's like, fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through college, son. You know what I mean? Like, I just was, let's go smoke more weed, and let's go smoke cigarettes, and let's go have some beers for lunch. And
so that's what it was, because I'm gonna, there's a follow up coming, right?
Well, I just want to add, like, in other words, I came from that time, which is way dead now, way over. Like, we're old, and things have changed. But it's like, I used to be young. I was into sports, and I was into, like, American football and baseball and all these things, and I'm really into sports, and like a little young jock. When the music thing took over, and I started being in bands in school, and like 8th grade, wearing my Metallica shirts and my, like, spiked bracelets, and, like, jean jackets with a patch on the back, you know what I mean? It's like I had to be like, fuck you to sports and give it up. And it's like, it became more important to, like, lifestyle, where I was like smoking and drinking. Like, I was that era, you know what I mean? Where, like, It went hand in hand. Like, you had to do these things. And so, just to jump ahead, I've told you this, that, like, when I was interviewing people, part of me was sad that there was no more, like, Jeff Porcaro, like, hiding a bag of coke. Like, so like during the interview, he was going to run off to the bathroom and, like, have to do some lines or something, or be like, hey, you want to puff on this joint with me? Mm-hmm. Which I would have loved to have done with Jeff Porcaro. You know what I'm saying? And I was sort of sad that this new generation of guys, they were so straight, and everyone's so like, I don't drink, like, and I've never had a cigarette. And I was like, this is so fucking boring. Like, you guys are just like, they're all geeks. Of course, I was a geek. But the point is, when I was younger, it was still like rock and roll. It was like that time of, like, Motley Crue and, like them telling stories of like Ozzy snorting a line of ants.
Yeah,
It's like there was still that thing in rock and roll, and Eddie Van Halen always with the cigarette, and always with the beer, and you know what I mean. It's like, Michael Anthony swigging his Jack Daniels. It was like there was an era where this was sort of just the norm, and of course now it's just like it's all horrific. It's like nobody does that.
Yeah. So just going back to your foray into the different high schools.
Mm-hmm.
So was it that behavior, just that sort of intolerable drinking, smoking, swearing type stuff that got you moved around, that got you sort of kicked out of one school, or
yeah, for sure. I was kicked out, and yeah.
Just trying to build your profile, right? That's what I'm doing here. For the Epstein files.
It's kind of funny to look back at that little shitbag, that little obnoxious little fucker, just like, yeah, that was me. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we're out of the high schools now. Yeah, what was next?
I don't know, man. I mean, like I said, I went to do the acting thing, and then I ended up making some films. Well, I grew up with this guy down the street from me, and his parents were from Spain, and so we had grown. He was a little bit older than me, but like we were kids together. A lot of kids in the neighborhood where I grew up. A lot of kids, big group of kids, like 20, something insane like that. It was wild. We used to all just hang out, and anyway, he was older than me, so like I said, by after high school, like I hadn't seen him in a while. So we jump ahead to like mid to like 26, 27 years old, and he hits me up, and he had become this kind of minor rock star in Spain, and he looked me up. He called my parents' house, and he got my cell phone number, and he was in New York, and he was like, "Can we meet?" And we met, and basically he was like, "Yeah, like I live in Spain now, and I'm like this, I have a following, and anyway, I need a drummer for a summer tour." And I was like, thinking about you, like, "Hey, do you still play?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, you want to do a tour of Spain this summer? And it's like, fuck yeah, I do. And that was 2001. And we did the summer tour, and the last show of that tour was September 10th. And I had a return ticket for like 5 days later. And so 9/11, I'm stranded in Spain, and it just turned into like 5 years. I mean, I did, come back to New York during that time, but I started getting more work there. Met my ex-wife. My oldest daughter was born there. It just became a whole thing. Yeah, for all suddenly I was living there. We've talked about this, like a lot of, and I still think about this, like a lot of life is just accidents, and like I think I have a plan, and then something else happens, and I end up, it's like I came here to pursue music and to play, and I'm a barber.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I really didn't see that coming, but here I am. So same thing. It's a part of my story is a big part of my story is I had this plan, and then something else happened.
So what was that 5 years like in Spain? I mean, were you really living that lifestyle, and was there any sort of sensibility about you, or were you just like, man, I'm here? It was a party. Were you were playing in bands, obviously, playing music?
Yeah, I played mostly with expat groups because there's so many there, and like British and Irish, some Americans. I have likened it to like if you're here and you go to a Mexican restaurant and there's like a mariachi band playing, and they look authentically Mexican, and they're wearing the outfits and they're singing the songs. It's like, it's cool because it's authentic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I was in Spain and I was playing in like bands with Americans and we were doing like rockabilly or something, it just fucking works because it's authentic.
Right.
It's very special there. So it's the same shit. You're playing with some Irish band, it's like Celtic, it's like the Pogues or something. It just fucking works. So I did a lot of that. And, work is work. And then at the same time, like when I was there, it was before the euro. So there was still the peseta and life was really cheap. Like my rent, my first place I was living there in Barcelona, a room with there were 4 bedrooms in this apartment in the middle of Barcelona. And it was like the equivalent of $50 a month, $50 a month. You know what I mean? Like seriously,
Yeah.
like for a fucking room. So, doing gigs, and it was like I felt rich, like the money I was making, and then at the level I was living, it was like this is incredible.
So what was the scale of pay basically for for someone like you in that circuit?
I mean, I think I could do like 200 euros a night, and be gigging like a few nights a week, if not sometimes more, like 4 or 5. And then, like I'm saying, my rent for a month was like,
your overheads are
so it's like, even if a gig was like, the equivalent of like $100, it's like, it didn't matter. It was still like crushing it. And, so, and then, I always tell this to people. It's like, it's the lifestyle sucks you in because they're just so like, hey, don't mañana, bro, don't worry about it. Like, we're going to go out. We're going to have a nice long lunch. Here, have some more wine. Then, okay, let's smoke this joint, and then here, have some more wine. And then it's like, oh, are we going to get back to work? Mañana. Mañana, like now we're going to go down to we're going to go to the beach. We're going to kind of, and it's like, yeah, man, I can get into this, especially when everyone's doing it around you. It becomes normal and you're like, this is great. I love it. What a way to live. And then eventually when you have like New York brain, you're just like, come on, guys, though. Come on, you got to want to do something. Not the hardest workers,
Mm. I want to, let's unpack that New York brain because I haven't heard that before. So what is New York brain? Where'd that come from? And why did you use that just then?
New York brain, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go. Come on, guy. I mean, you go into a diner in New York City, and like, what can I get you, my friend? Bacon, egg, and a roll. And she's, bacon, egg, and a roll to go. And it's like, like in the mic, and it's like 2 minutes later, that fucking shit is out there, like wrapped in tinfoil in a bag. Like, let's go. We're ringing you up. You're not eating here. Go. Coffee to go. And you're walking down the street, and you're like drinking it and eating it on the walk. It's like the opposite of Spain. They don't walk with their coffee. You know what I'm saying? You sit down and you roll a cigarette with your coffee, you know what I mean? And you take a moment. I mean, it's easy to know which one's better when I say it, you know, instinctively. But, when you're from New York and everything is just like, come on. I mean, that's part of the thing about even interviewing, it's like with guys where there was times it was like, come on, let's just cut to the fucking chase. Like, I don't have time for your fucking preamble,
Okay, so what was it that got that New York brain kicking back into action and led you to leaving Spain? And then where did you end up?
Well, I think it was 2 things. I mean, I think it was I was still married, and she was also kind of interested in going to New York. She was a teacher, so she applied to get a transfer, and it was going to take about a year. And we took it that way, where it was like, well, if it comes up, it was meant to be, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And then it did, and she like won this lot. She like a lottery, and they chose her, and she got to do it, and she ended up teaching down in the East Village, and she was an English teacher in Spain, but she was going to be a Spanish teacher in New York City. And it was like inner city kids. Anyway, I think to answer your question, the way I used to look at it and see it was like in Spain, I would think of it like a ceiling. And I felt like in Spain, the ceiling was lower. And I had come from New York, and it seemed like this massive ceiling, like you were like the difference of being in like Madison Square Garden and looking up and being like, it's like what they would call the rafters, you know, like, it's just like, wow, I can't even really see it. It's like, I think that's the ceiling that it just starts to get dark. It's just, if like you let a balloon up, you know, and it would just go all the way up. And then some rooms are just real low. Like, don't jump, you'll bang your head, you know? It's like, that felt like Spain. Like, you could only get so high. You could only achieve so much there. And it seemed infinite in the United States.
Okay, so what did you do then? So your wife got the job teaching. So what did you?
The first job I did was when we got back was waiting tables.
So okay, so did it take long for the readjustment from the long lunch type sort of, you know, eat a little bit more, drink a little bit more, to getting back to waiting a table in a New York restaurant or cafe or wherever you might have been?
Yeah. It was hard. I mean, because, you know, in some ways I had a good thing going in Spain, and then it was a really hard, you know, reality smack in the face return in New York, like living like that, you know, where you're just like waiting tables and just grinding, and you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't romantic anymore. You know, life was real again. Yeah. Okay.
So what gets you to LA?
What got me to LA was, that marriage ended, and then
in New York, ended in New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she ended up moving back to Spain.
Okay.
And so I was always connected to LA, because remember, I had been there in my 20s for 2 years, but I would always go back. So I was connected to LA. And so anyway, I ended up, I was there for like a month. And then I met someone, and then we were involved, this woman, and then we were doing long distance thing, because I was still in New York, and she would come out to New York a lot. And finally, you know, we decided we were going to give this a real go. And then she moved to New York, but she had a house in LA and she was subletting it. Cut to about 8 years into that relationship in New York, we're pregnant. And at that point, I was kind of fed up with New York and ready to go. Now, mind you, and so she had the house, like I said, and was subletting it. We're having a baby, and it's like, well, it just makes sense. You got a house. Let's go. Let's just go to the house. And why are we in an apartment, like trying to have a baby, you know? But this was also the moment of I'd hit that coming to fruition.
Yep.
It was this time.
All right. I'd hit that. Let's talk about the idea, where the idea came from, and then, you know, the steps you took to get it happening, and then we can talk about, you know, some of the early challenges, and then let's just dig into the podcast for a while.
Yeah. So I was actually doing a tour with a band in New York. That we were doing a tour in England, and it was the winter. And it was miserable, because England in the winter is miserable. It was like January. And we'd have days off, and I just didn't even want to be out. I hated the weather, hated it. And I found this podcast. It was Mark Maron, WTF. And it was back when he was only interviewing fellow comedians. He was a comedian and he was only fellow comedians.
Mm-hmm.
I read some article Robin Williams had been on, and there was an article about that interview, and it was saying how it was very revealing, and it was like a very it was a different side of Robin Williams. And so that's how I found that podcast. And I thought, this is cool. This is a cool format. And I was also at the time obsessed with Drumhead magazine. And so in my mind, I was like, this would be cool format for drummers. Because again, that was just comedians. He wasn't interviewing actors or Obama. It wasn't that level yet. So I was like, this would be cool. But I thought that Mark Maron, I'd never heard of him, I'll be honest. But I knew he was a comedian. And I thought, like the way Jonathan Mover, I at least knew who that was. Like I knew GTR and I knew his for Put Up or Shut Up 45 that was in Modern Drummer. Like I knew who Jonathan Mover was in Satriani. I knew who he was. And so using those those examples, I was like, my idea for a show, I was like, yeah, but you have to be someone. Like those are guys. They're known. You're nobody. So I was like, it's not going to work. And I literally held that idea in my pocket for a year. I didn't do anything with it because I was also at one point considering being like a producer and finding a name and being like, you do it. And
like a Frangione. You needed a Frangione, didn't you?
He would have been a great front man because he's just so interesting. You know, I think all drummers are obsessed with Frangione. Like he said, we want to know more about him. He's just so, you know.
Yeah.
Like he's got pull. You know, he gets pussy like galore. Yeah. Like, you know, he does because he's just got that thing, you know.
Look how many bass drums I got.
Right. So, but I don't remember if I had any names in mind, but I remember thinking that. And then I was like, nah, because someone will just be like, well, what the fuck do I need you for after a little while? And they're going to get rid of me. So finally, I just decided to do it. And I was on Facebook back then and I wrote a bunch of guys and I was like, hey, I got this idea. I was like writing like Matt Chamberlain and all these people. And I would say to them, I would always put in like, go listen to Mark Maron, what WTF, and you'll get an idea of what I'm looking to do. And it's like that old thing, you know, it's like, even if a dude tells a young guy, like, if you go up to 100 women and ask them out, like one will finally be like, okay. And it's like, I wrote, I don't know how many, and I don't know, like 6 or 7 were like, okay. Like Kurt Pescara, Jimmy Paxton, Brian Tichy. Yeah. I mean, and there were some in there that were just sort of like what we'd call a shoe-in now, you know, guys who were like, yeah, he'll say yes, you know. And, you know, and many of them were literally the day of, you know, when I'd show up, that would be like, what is this for again? Like, where do you listen to it? Yeah, but how does someone find it? You know, like they didn't even understand the format. They didn't understand, where do you hear this? Where? They just didn't get it. It was interesting. And people didn't really understand it. It's just kind of funny to look back. Like it's not that long ago.
Yeah. That whole, where do you find it? Where do you listen to it type thing? Now I was, you know, it was one of the first, your podcast was the first podcast that I had on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this the other week, and I thought your podcast was the very first podcast I'd ever listened to, but what I remembered was there's this Australian comedian called Steele Saunders, and he does a podcast about Star Wars, and me being a Star Wars fan, he's a friend of my wife's mate or something. So my wife had said, "Oh, there's this guy called Steele, and he's got this podcast." And so I found out this it was called Steel Wars, and but that was on Bandcamp, right?
Yeah.
So then when I found out about your podcast, somebody shared the image and saying, "I've just listened to this interview with Hal Blaine on this podcast called I'd Hit That Podcast." So of course I went to Bandcamp because that's where I thought you got podcasts from, and I couldn't find it, and then realised that there's this thing called Apple Podcast, and sure, I got your podcast, and that was it. But yeah, very very different time back then, and I can understand, the challenge it would have been trying to get the people that you were trying to get on the show to go, where do I get this? Whereas now, there's millions of podcasts. Yeah, they're everywhere, and the
other problem, I mean, that's kind of a whole other problem. Which don't get me started, But
me neither. Where did the idea of just the Zoom recorder come from? Is that the only thing that sort of popped in your mind as a way that you could record it?
It's funny you mention that because somebody was just saying, and I'm trying to remember if it's anyone that matters, or it may not be, but I just heard this the other day, and basically it was about like video, I guess, or like phone cameras versus high tech lighting, etc. And I guess it has to do with like social media posts, but the idea being that you don't need all that high tech crap. It was like people want real.
Yeah.
People are craving like that was the idea. Okay. Like essentially just saying like, it's your fucking phone camera, bro. Just put it on and it's raw and there's no makeup. And it's like, that's what people love. And so it made me think about that. It's like the audio equivalent is like a fucking Zoom camera, Zoom, and just being like, fuck it. Like there's no mic. You don't get no mic.
Yeah.
Nothing fancy. You know what I mean?
And you were the only one that wore headphones too, right?
Yeah, I wore headphones and only, and I'll be, honestly, like one of the main reasons was, when it shuts off, you wouldn't hear it in the headphones. So if it shut off or something.
Okay.
Like that was really the main reason. But also I did a lot of like outdoor. I did like the famous first one with Elitch where we were like in a restaurant because I didn't know any better.
Banging plates and all that. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I thought it would capture because we were close. I didn't realize later how awful it would be to listen to with like all this other noise. I just didn't know. We didn't know. It was like literally like the olden days. We just didn't know any better,
Yeah, with that auto, like knowing when the machine switched off. See, I never used, when I was using the Zoom recorder myself, because I used the Zoom recorder for probably the first, I can't remember, 20 odd episodes that I did. And then I told you, the other week what got me onto this other sort of gear, but that's boring shit for the people listening. But I would find myself with that Zoom recorder, and this was to my detriment sometimes, and this is why it's smart you wearing the headphones at the time because you would hear it. But I would always find myself looking down and touching the screen to get the backlight on to see how the battery was going. And then you'd do that while someone's mid-conversation, and then you'd look back up at them and go, fuck, what did they just say?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like, and then I'd walk away from that going, fuck, I missed that. Or I'd listen back when I was doing the, getting it ready to distribute it out going, I don't remember him saying that. Or I don't remember her saying that. And it's just that distraction.
It's a funny thing because I remember like, it was like, you make me just so jump around. It's like, I like there was this show inside the actor studio and James Lipton, and he, at the end of everything, it was always the same questions. It was like, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you get there? And he had all these like what other occupation would you be if you were not an actor? And it was like, what is your favorite sound? What is your favorite curse word? And it was like the same questions for every person. And initially it's funny. You know what I mean? Initially it's cute and all that. And then eventually you realize like everyone is prepared because they know these. So everybody wants to be clever. And it's like, what is your favorite curse word? And then you've got like, Alec Baldwin. He's like, douchebag, douchebag. It's like, and what's your favorite? It just seems so contrived and bullshit. And so people would say to me like, oh, what's a great question is like, what books are you reading? Like they're trying to give me ideas to be asking drummers. And it's like,
right.
I used to, as you know, one thing I used to be like, what's your favorite kick drum size?
Yeah.
Like that was like a common question that would come up. But it just all ties into what you were saying about losing your place and saying, what the hell did he just say? And I learned that when you have an agenda in your mind about where this has to go, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You're fucked. If you're just not present and literally listening and taking it in, if you go in with a full agenda of like, I've got to get these questions, I've got to get there, that's when you make the mistake when Alex Van Halen is like, I'm making a new album and I'm working with Steve Lukather, and you're just like,
huh?
Oh, that's great. That's great. So let's talk about the snare drums.
That's right.
You got
one of those.
You got your signature snare drum, and it's like, bro, Alex Van Halen just told you he's working on a new record.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It didn't cross your mind. Like, come on, who else? Who's on mandolin? Like, come on, guys, because they're not present.
It works. That stuff works well for short form, but it just unless you've got the world's best memory, can take everything in and work it all out on the fly. Going in with it, like you said, going in with an agenda of having to ask all these questions and still seeming like and it projecting like you're present. Yeah, that just doesn't happen, does it?
Because I would tell you, by the way, like that there are certain things like I would love to be able to do, but if I also have this thing where if I say it here, some other asshole is going to steal it, and he's going to do it before me because he'll just do it like that. He'll do it on video, like it's like, you know what I mean. Like I have a great Steve Gadd idea, but like he's it's got to be in person. You know what I mean? You know me. I'm sorry. I gotta get him in person.
Yep.
So some other asshole is going to do it like and they're going to ask him about it. And I'm going to be like, you son of a bitch.
There'd be another meeting at Modern Drummer. Everyone gets called in. Dave's got an idea. Dave's got an idea for Gadd. Let's get out there and do it first.
and it's not the great Gadd speak, You know about that, right?
No.
Oh, that was Zach Danziger coined that one when he was doing like he did this whole gag about Steve Gadd, and they mentioned like Mark Juliana, and Steve Gadd was like, "Oh, Merrick, yeah, Merrick," like with his accent, with his like upstate New York / Canadian accent,
right?
And there was a time where we had Jeff Babko, Danziger, and I had like a chat going, and it was all just like we would just do Gadd speak jokes. That's all we did for like a while. Awesome. It was just like, and the whole gag was to be like, where does Donald Trump like to hang out often? It was like Mar-a-Lago, and you would spell it like Mare. Every answer would just be, in with the Gadd accent. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we were talking about the gear and the simplicity of, that recorder and for that whole point of, being more about the conversation and not focusing on the gear. And like I've been asked, you know, and I addressed this in a recent like end of the year podcast that I did about, you know, I've had people ask me, is this podcast going to become video podcast because everybody else is doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, for one, there's no way the Gig Life podcast will ever become a video podcast, because first thing, I think knowing that something that you're recording is going to be released, it for one, it changes the conversation. It changes, unless you're fully comfortable in front of a camera, which, you know, lots of musicians are not. They might be comfortable in front of a big crowd, but, you know, when they've got a camera on them, and, you know, they act different. And during COVID, you know, this podcast went fully remotely, and, you know, people would get dressed up, and, you know, some of the ladies would get makeup on, and the guys would be dressed up and all this, and I'd be trying to have a conversation with them like we are now. I mean, you're just laying on your bed with a tracksuit, and I've got a fucking Misfits t-shirt on and whatever, but they'd be all dressed up, and the whole time I'm talking to them, they're doing this.
Yeah.
Doing, and then having a quick sort of glance down, and then you'd get the you know, right in the middle of me asking them a question or a conversation, right? So
yeah.
I'd walk away from those conversations going, fuck video, man. That's shit. And then the other thing is, you know, it's all the gear and the prep and the time and all that, you know, it just takes away from, in my opinion and your opinion, just takes away from the real conversations.
You know, it's funny because I think about this too. Like, I forget that I feel so old. It's like I grew up listening. You know Howard Stern?
Yeah.
Like, he was a New York disc jockey. It was before he was like all over, you know, America. And he was just a New York guy when I was young, and he was after school. He was even mornings. He was like in the afternoon, and we'd come home from school, and me and my brother would put the radio on. Like, that's how old that sounds. Do you hear that sentence?
Yeah.
Came home from school and we put the radio on.
Yeah.
That's what was interesting. And we listened to Howard Stern. And we just sit in the room, and we, like, whatever else we were doing, but we were listening to Howard Stern. And so I did think about that, by the way, is what I'm trying to bring us up for, because I realized that I was raised on radio, and there was like talk radio. There were things that existed like that, you know? And so that also was a big thing for me with the podcast, was like, it's radio show. It's not, this isn't, you know, this isn't a TV show. This is radio.
Yeah.
And I think it's its own art form. I really do think that. And I remember friends of mine would tell me early on, they say, it's better, bro. It's better because it's like theater of the mind. Everyone's imagining, you know,
yeah,
like what it looks like where you guys are. And, you know, and in some ways it's better that way. Yeah. It's like reading a book.
But it was the sounds too, you know, like when we talked last year, was because, you know, that house that you moved to in LA, the house in the Hollywood Hills. I mean, that was the backdrop to so many of your interviews. And you know, I've got, and I think when you told me that, I went, oh yeah, the one with the water running in the background, because that's what I remember. And then when I would hear those episodes, I just had this image in my mind of where you guys were sitting and where the water was coming from. You know, it just paints that picture. It's like when you're reading a good descriptive book, you're there, right?
That's it.
Instead of like looking in the background going, oh, there's a water fountain there. You can't fucking hear it. You see it, right?
Yeah.
You close your eyes and you can hear the water, and you can, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, man. I still stand by it. I think it's a powerful medium. Just like audio only, and old school radio, just voices in your head. It's You know, another episode that you did where I've just still got this image in my head, because I've never been to New York, and it was the Sean Pelton interview. And I think you went to his apartment in New York, right? Great one.
And just the way that you guys kind of explained where you were, and I just remember during that episode, like picturing the hallway, picturing, in the room. And then ever since then, every time someone's spoken of a New York apartment, my mind goes back to that image that I got in my head from that conversation that night with you and Sean Pelton. Yeah.
I'll tell you, and the interesting thing about that was that for me is one of the most unique New York City living arrangements I've ever seen. In the fact that, I mean, it's so rare to be able to see an apartment building and then have like a drum studio in it.
Yeah,
that's like soundproof, like from ceiling, floor, all of it.
Yeah,
and it's like, holy shit, what a setup! And of course, the other thing was that he had it set up with all the tequila.
Yeah.
Like all these different bottles of tequila, and we were like drinking the entire time.
Yeah.
And getting like soused. Yeah. And that was very rare. That did not really, most people weren't up for that. I did smoke weed with Jojo Mayer.
Right.
Yeah.
What was that like? He just seems like a trip.
Jojo Mayer is a trip because it's funny. I actually had met him previously. Like I was downtown New York with my girlfriend at the time. It was a summer day, and he was sitting at like this like outside kind of bar area, and I was like, Jojo Mayer, and he just looked at me and he said, "You're a drummer." He was kind of a dick,
Okay.
But he had kind of just like a very like, he was like, "You're a drummer." And I was like, yeah, and that was that. And so I'd previously met him. I'll tell you, okay, hold on. Quick story. When the show took off, the interesting thing was like, I saw like on Twitter, like Michael Shreve tweeted, like walking around Seattle, like with headphones on, listening to I'd Hit That. And he tagged me, and I was like, what the fuck? This was one of my childhood idols.
Yeah.
And then, he's like a fan of mine, like mind blowing. And that's how like I connected with Michael Shreve. And then I got an email one day, and it was like, I represent Steve Smith, and he's a fan of your show, and would you be interested in having him on? It was like, what the fuck? Steve Smith from Journey? That's how I thought of him.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's reaching out to me? And then I met with Steve Smith in his apartment in New York, and like in the Ansonia, which is an insane high-end building. And like his apartment, you're like, okay, this is Journey money.
Yeah.
This ain't jazz money. You know what I mean? And he was like, I'm going to hook you up. Because he was like, I want to hear an episode with Jojo Mayer. Uh-huh. So he's like, I'm going to introduce you. And he did like an email introduction, and that's how I got Jojo.
Right. Because they're Sonar guys, aren't they? They're both Sonar guys. Maybe that's where the link is for them. Yeah.
And it was the other one he wanted me to do was the German, the model, the good looking guy,
Thomas Lang.
Thomas Lang.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
The model.
No. I mean,
the specimen of a man. He sure is.
Come on, he's a stud. Look at the man. I mean, he's like, are you kidding me? Like, he would do these ads, and you're like, what the fuck? Why are you not in Hollywood, bro? Like, what are you doing over here?
Why are you not hosting Modern Drummer videos?
Right. Frangione, Face for Radio. Thomas Lang. Let's get the man a camera, So, but I'm going to tell you a Thomas Lang story in a second. The point is that, so Jojo Mayer comes up to the apartment. He comes to me, and he mentions early, he's like, he's like, it must be this new shit I'm smoking. I don't know. And I was like, oh, such a stoner pothead. Like, they always drop little clues, and you either pick it up or you're like, I'll just let that go. And I was like, yeah. You want to smoke? Come on, let's smoke. And he was like, okay, sure, fuck it. So that was like the first person who had like a touch of what I was saying earlier, where I was craving that kind of like Jeff Porcaro lighting a blunt, you know. Thomas Lang, I don't remember if it's in the episode, but he told like these great Charlie Watts stories. Charlie Watts was like stayed with him for a minute. It's the most random fucking thing. Charlie Watts staying with Thomas Lang. But the brilliant part of the story was he was telling me, because it's California, that Charlie wanted to go to the beach. He wanted to go see the beach, and he wore his suit to the beach.
Yeah.
He said Charlie didn't wear a wallet because it would bulge the suit and it wouldn't look right. So he just carried an Amex Black card.
Right.
And he said on the way back from the beach, he wanted a coffee, and they stopped in some like Latino, it was like all Latino neighborhood of LA, this Starbucks or something. And it was like filled with just all Latinos. And he said he learned the level of fame that Charlie Watts is, because it was like the last place you'd think they'd even know who he was. And everyone in the room was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Charlie fucking Watts. I mean, he was like, it's that level of fame. It's insane. And I always remembered those stories of Thomas Lang, Charlie Watts. So random.
Going back to the Steve Smith apartment, I watched the interview Steve Smith did with Elmo on YouTube. Something else. What's the show called? It's a podcast as well.
Oh, Joe Lovano's nephew.
Yeah, Elmo. Right. So
Joe Lovano. Yeah.
Right. So he did this. He did this. He did this interview with Steve Smith and Elmo's in his. It's done remotely, but it's the backdrop of his apartment, and so I was looking at the background, going, "Where was Dave sitting? Where was because it's that place that you were there." I'm thinking,
yeah,
Dave was there. Dave interviewed Steve there in that apartment, and I just thought I'd mention that.
Well, even funnier, I spent so long with Steve Smith that day, so long with him. Then after that, he says, hey, I'm going to go down to like, I can't remember. It was like the Vanguard or something. I don't know. And he was like, I'm going to go see, it could have been Dave King. I don't know. It's someone. And he was like, hey, you want to go with me? And like, we're going to, and it's just a true story, dude. I had just spent so long with Steve Smith, and I was so tired and so bored. I was like, I can't, bro. I got plans. I turned down hanging out with Steve Smith at this jazz club, because I was just like, dude, enough with this guy.
Yeah, I got you.
Like, you're just not that interesting.
Here we go. So, we had a good conversation a while back about musicians not being interesting. Not saying all musicians are not interesting, but
very true.
It got me really thinking, especially over these last couple of weeks, about that.
Really?
And absolutely, absolutely.
You think I'm onto something, huh?
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. So let's talk about the different hiatuses. You've had a couple of hiatuses with the show. Let's talk about what brought on those hiatuses, and then what brought you back, and then what made you go off on a break again, and ultimately what will bring the show back, and if it will come back.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are correlations to be made to artists and whatnot. I mean, I think about this, whether it's I love Miles Davis, and you can look at like his career, and you can be like, well, I prefer the first quintet, or something, or I prefer with what's his name,
Tony Williams.
Tony Williams, and it's like no, I prefer Tony Williams era. I prefer
right.
Miles Smiles and all that. It's like, no, I'm more of a Philly Joe Jones earlier guy. No, I'm more of I like Bitches Brew. I like that era. It's like, of course, no one ever says I like, Tutu. Nobody wants to hear Miles playing, time after time or whatever. But the point is that there were different eras of Miles. And Miles at one point put the horn down for like 5 years. You know what I mean? He just didn't touch it. I loved Van Halen, but they were just notoriously like impossible. Like, when are we going to get some new shit from you guys? They're just going years with nothing. And you're like, what the fuck? Get it together, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Larry David, I mentioned him, like that happened, I think, after my hiatuses, where I realized like he just would stop and like not do it for years. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, okay, let's do it again. Time for a new season because I feel like it now. And like, I wasn't trying to do that. I'm saying like, that's what's natural for me. It just feels organic. It's like, I get bored, Stevie. I've said this, like, if I just did people I'm interested in, which is what I should be doing, then it would be pure and real. It's when I start making promises and say, all right, I'm going to do this every week, or I'm going to release them every Sunday. Now I need content. And I think that's the killer. When you become a content creator, and you just need content, you need filler. And that's been my mistake. And then I'm like, hey, you know anyone? Hey, you guys got someone? And oh, yeah, you got to get so-and-so. And I told you, and the next thing you know, you're interviewing, the guy from Kesha. And it's like, you know what I mean? And you're just like, I didn't intend for this. I don't give a shit about this.
Yep.
I don't care at all. I have to make it up. I have to pretend to be interested. It's just different when it's Hal Blaine. It's just different. When it's Steve Lukather and you're like, let's talk about Jeff Porcaro. And then there's guys who are just like, you're like, all right, I mean, I'll do it because, and then,
and it comes through too. It really does. Having listened to them all, and I can honestly say to you now, and I did not listen to the whole episode. It'd be like, oh fuck, this is and you know it.
By the way,
happens to me as well.
Listen, I mean, the whole point of this one tonight, and we're supposed to be like, Dave isn't such a dick and like whipping people, but I'll be. I have to be a little bit honest. I remember early on, it was like this idea, like, and my ex probably, or someone was like, well, are you going to have any women on? Aren't you going to have, and it was like, oh, it's like an afterthought. It was like, oh yeah, I don't know. I guess Cindy Blackman, I guess, what's her name? Like Allison Miller. I guess, and it's like, I'll say it. I'll be the unpopular. Go ahead, like, fucking shoot me. I don't give a fuck. You ask most guys, like, give me your top 10, There's no woman drummer on there.
Right.
No, there isn't. You're lying. You know what I mean? The guy, yes, there is. No, Meg White is not. No, she's not. You're putting her on there to look good for your girlfriend or your wife, or
right.
You're virtue signaling. You're lying. No, she's not in your top. No, she's not. You get caught up in these things of like, I mean, I literally once had someone ask me, and this is true story. Are there any homosexual drummers, openly homosexual, that you would have on? I was like, are you out of your fuck? Like, seriously? This is what it's come to? Like, now that's going to be the thing? A lot of musicians are very boring people.
Yep.
And that's what I was saying. They're not frontmen. They're Frangioni. I may as well be interviewing David Frangioni. It's like, you're boring, bro. You're not interesting. Not everyone can be that interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Now it's tangent time. You see, it's like, it's the reason why communism couldn't ever work. Can you imagine if the same occupation, everyone made the same amount of money, all drummers are equal? Like, could you see what I mean? How absurd that is?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a drummer too. I should make what Vinny Kulacza makes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a drummer, I'm a drummer. Like, we're equal. What do you mean?
Yeah.
No, motherfucker. All men are not created equal.
Yeah, there's levels to this.
Yeah, there's levels to this. And Vinny Kulacza, bro, is Vinny Kulacza. And you'll never be Vinny Kulacza. And that is one thing I will repeat to this. I'm sorry, I'm going to say this out loud. It hurts me and pisses me off that so many drummers bash him for his personal side.
Yep, that's right.
His beliefs.
Yep.
When he gets political and I've said this before, like the idea that people go, yeah, Vinny, but he's crazy now. What do you mean he's crazy? Oh, he's a fucking crazy. It's like, Vinny is smarter than any of you. I'll put money on it. Like, even the guy listening, you think you're so brilliant. Like, no, you're not. Vinny is.
Yeah.
And I'll announce that here. I've talked to him on the phone.
Before you tell that story.
Yeah.
Because I know that story.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing about that, what you're saying about Vinny and people coming out and, saying he's crazy now and all.
Yeah.
Look, that hasn't just happened. Like, he's probably always been like that. But the only difference now, one, he's got his podcast, and on his podcast he doesn't just sit and talk to drummers or other musicians. He does that, and he does that very well. But he's got opinions, right? And he's decided to, create that platform for himself to speak about what he thinks about. Now, it's like any form of social media or platform, there's always going to be people that disagree with it. But it still doesn't change the fact that he's the greatest drummer. Like, he's just not think about that stuff and go back to why you liked Vinny Kulacza to start with. That's what I think. And I know that, like, those episodes on his podcast, I'll start listening to them and I'll go, this subject's not for me. And you know what I do? I just turn it off.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then he's got a new episode next week. I'll listen to it again. I'm not going to unsubscribe to him. I just decide to not follow that particular topic that week.
But at least
it's that easy.
I agree with you, but what I'm saying is, at least with Vinny, it's like he's a thinker, and he's like challenging, and he's like, he's most guys just aren't doing that, bro. They play it safe. I've told you this. Like, most drummers will just tell you, the nice guy, be a nice guy, be easy to get along with, be good on the bus, get the gig. And then I told you this, the recorder stops recording and I'm ready to leave, and all of a sudden they're telling me the best fucking dirt.
Yeah.
That you're like, why can't this be on the episode? And they're telling off the record. Suddenly they're telling, oh, remember that story I told you? The guy I couldn't mention? It was blah, blah, blah. Like, like, this is gold, but it's not going out.
Yeah.
Because nobody has the balls to, and that's what I'm saying. I've said, that's what, like, the kids, so to speak, should be hearing, is the real shit about this.
And then that's only going to really come from the likes of Hal Blaine, because Hal Blaine is retired, and like he said, he did it, he had it all, he lost it all, he got most of it back, and now he doesn't give a fuck. And he said that to you on the interview that you did with Hal Blaine.
That's the one that I want to repeat, is that because I think it's important. Is that when Hal Blaine says Carol Kay is a fucking liar and that she wasn't even there most of the time, I'm inclined to believe Hal Blaine.
Yeah.
So Carol Kay is another one who can have this legendary status, and I get it. Like, I've said this, it's hallowed be thy name. I get it. It's like sacrilege to say that, but because she's alleged. Oh my God, the great Carol Kay. Fine, but Hal Blaine said she wasn't even fucking there. Basically, just ask her. She'll tell you. She played on every recording since.
Just ask her. That's it.
Yeah, and it was like so dripping with just like the vicious sarcasm.
Yeah,
but I believed him. I still believe him.
Yep.
She's a charlatan in many ways.
Yep.
Because she's playing off of something. She was not the Wrecking Crew bassist.
Yeah, and that's even more funny because there was a clip that I saw. It wasn't too long. It wasn't long before we spoke. Before Christmas, and I just listened to that Hal Blaine episode of yours a few days before that, and I just saw this clip, and it was Carol Kay walking into one of the famous studios that they used to play at all the time, and there's all these gold records on the wall, and she kind of walked in there just to unannounced or whatever, just to see if she could just cruise on in there to her old stomping ground, and They didn't even give her the time of day. So they obviously didn't know who the hell she was, or they knew that she's full of shit. But she's going, you don't know who I am. I played on all these records, and you see this one woman just sort of roll her eyes and turn around and walk away, So, yeah, I don't know if she was there to put on a bit of a show for the camera or whatever it is, but yeah, interesting. Yeah, so we may not get the real deep stories from the musicians until they retire. I told you too, I had this little series, and the whole point of it was to try and get more sort of information and dirt out of the people that I was talking to. And I called it A Few Gig Stories, and there was 4 or 5 sort of episodes I did where on each episode there was 4 or 5 different people that I'd sat down with one night outside of their normal interview that I'd had with them, because I'd got to know them. And it was like, all right, so tonight we're going to sit down, we're going to have some drinks, and this was during COVID time too. We're just going to drink, and you're going to tell some fucking stories, right? And we're going to sit here for a couple of hours, and then, I'm going to sort of cut them up into the stories, and then I'm going to send them to you, and I'm going to say, can we release these, right? So I did that, and then, there was, like I said, there was only 4 or so episodes of this little series that I ran, but some of the dirt that they told that I've still got recorded, that when it came time to put out a new episode, I'd send it to them to say, is it okay if we release this? Oh, nah, shit. I was pretty pissed at that stage. I drunk too much. I don't want to say that. Can we not release that? But those stories may come out again when they retire, or they give me the word.
I was going to say, I mean, Stevie might have some incriminating evidence on me.
I do.
When I die, he'll release it. Probably.
Yep. Or if I need something.
Sure. Well,
I know where you live. You live too.
Stevie's
Cedar Park, Austin, Texas. Cedar Park Barbershop.
Stevie's the Israel to my America. He's gonna just blackmail me with. We're gonna get. We need this done. Do it.
Yeah, we're not gonna get political. Hey,
I'm gonna release what you've said about blank, unredacted.
Because you've got a little recording device going on there. You've got your Zoom recorder.
I've talked a lot of shit about people.
Yeah,
with you.
It's okay. I've talked a lot of shit about people to a lot of people.
I've named names. By the way, the other one I want to repeat though is that, because I still want to put this out there. Aaron Sterling, I love him. He does his little bits on Instagram. I don't know what I can't do. Aaron, I can't do it. I can't do that rhythm he does, but he does that thing. I mean, I don't know. I was just at the feed store, and it's like the girl. She was like, "Do you want a bag?" I'm like, "No, I don't want a bag. Why do I want a bag? Do I eat Doritos? I don't eat Doritos." He does that thing. It's like a shtick. It's like Aaron Sterling. And then he's talking and it just cuts, like in the middle of, and I'm like, the thing I want to see is, I want to see people like imitating him. I want to see that. It's time for that. It's time for people mocking that. Do Aaron Sterling. Someone start doing Aaron Sterling, like in his car videos, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see that.
There might be a new podcast there, Dave.
Well, because I think I've said it, it's the final frontier left. Like, you have to start mocking other musician people in their way, you know. Hey, this is Lee Sklar, you know, and he's like, you know what I mean, like, Lee Sklar, you know, like, I'm giving the finger. Look, I'm radical. It's like,
yes.
It's all we have left. I mean, hey, it's Dave Varriale, you know. It's like, if you're working on something and you're feeling unmotivated, you know, he's got like his little thing, you know, and you're like, all right, dude, you know, like, some people start mocking these people, like in their like little, hey, you doing, it's Dan Weiss, you know, and like his Dan Weiss, you know, I'm down in the dark, dank basement, you know, like a serial killer. This is my new Patreon. I'm doing my thing here. It's like, what are you fucking, like, what accent is that? You know what I mean? I text with the guy, okay?
Yeah.
So I say all this with love. I love all these guys, but like, they need to be mocked, okay? Like, people should start like doing bits where they're like, how you doing? I'm Dan Weiss in the basement, you know, like, like where's Frangione? Where's like the guy mocking Frangione, you know, with like, that's what I want to say. It was the fucking Nickel McBrain he has Alex Van Halen and he says, hey, Alex, is it true you started on guitar and Eddie started on drums and then you guys swapped? I'm like, you son of a bitch. Like, every fucking person knows this story. That's what you ask them.
Yeah.
Unfucking real. You know what I mean? Like, the level of stupidity. Stevie. Breaks my heart, Stevie.
Yeah, time for change, eh? Yeah.
Time for a change, my friend. Time for a change. Anyway, I talked to Vinny on the phone.
Vinny, yes.
And I was pitching in person, and he's like, why can't we just do it on the thing? Great interviews are done on the thing. And I totally forgot he does Breakfast with Vinny and he does Zoom. I totally forgot. And I was basically like, it's bullshit. I was like telling Vinny,
no one's doing it.
Well, no. But I said to him, I said, Vinny, come on. I said, you know this, like, the best recordings is like the band in the same room. And when guys are like, hey, he did this part here and they did her part and she did her part in Sri Lanka, it's like, it's not the same. It's just not the same. The albums we love, it's the band in the same room.
Yep.
And I think I offended him because I forgot that he does his podcast and that's how he does it. And I think I offended him. So,
right. But have you tried to go back to him?
I have tried, and he won't respond.
Oh, he's ghosted you.
He's ghosting me, and so I have to let go. I guess Vinny Kulaccia is not meant to be, but neither. I don't think Steve Jordan wants to do. You know, he's another one. But I still think he'll disappoint me too, Jordan. He'll be a disappointment in real life.
See, Jordan's trying to go for that. He's trying to get that Charlie Watts fame.
Well, he's a big shot. I mean, with his like 20 gold chains, and he's gonna wear like Alex Van Halen. He'll wear his shades indoors.
Yeah, there's a new. I don't know if you've seen the new Yamaha hardware ad. I saw it today. Saw it this morning.
But
Yamaha brought out this
same hardware.
It's aluminium, apparently super light.
I use it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So he's done an ad now, and you're right. It's got the chains, the shades and.
Oh yeah, no. He wears. He's such a dick, you know, and that's the thing. I mean, I love him, but like, you know, he's a dick. This is my favorite groove, the shuffle. I love doing that line from his DVD. My favorite groove, the shuffle. That's my Steve Jordan right there.
Yeah.
I talked to a guy once. I won't name him because he'd be upset.
Okay.
Bass player told me that there was someone he toured with Steve Jordan, and Steve Jordan had someone on the crew use a hairdryer on his socks after a show because he didn't want to run them in the washing machine and the dryer. Steve Jordan had someone on the crew.
Had someone else do it.
Yes, run a hairdryer over his socks. Can we just sit in that for a minute? I mean, what? I want you to think about that for a minute. I want everyone listening to think about that. Who would do that? What kind of person would even think like that? My favorite groove. The shuffle.
Have you heard we talk about that sort of, there's that level of fame, but there's also that level of delusion that comes with people that have that kind of fame, right? And there's a story, I don't know where I heard this, but it's a Prince story.
Mm-hmm.
And I may have said this on the podcast before. I can't remember. But anyway, so Prince was in the studio one night working on this particular song, and they're sitting there, and they decided that there needed to be the sound of a mooing of a cow, or the sound of the cow's feet, or something to do with a cow, right? So Prince just said to these people, okay, so go get a cow and bring the cow into the studio. Now, yeah, exactly. So all the people are looking around him going, no, we can't bring a cow to the studio. And he's like, why can't just go get the cow and bring the cow? Like, he's just got this this level of, I don't know, what would you call that? Like, he's just living in a different world.
Retardation, yeah.
Just this unrealistic to all of us.
He's autistic.
That's interesting. And every time I see a Prince video or hear a Prince song, I always think of that.
I mean, it's just, as Steve Jordan, these socks are very expensive socks, and you can't just run them through a dryer. You understand? These aren't your average socks. So, that's what I need. I need someone on the crew who would see this hairdryer. I want you to use the middle setting, not the high setting, because that's too hot. It might melt them. Like,
yeah, well, there's like a clothes dryer endorsement deal waiting to happen there for Steve Jordan, because what happens at home? How does he must have a special dryer or something?
Like, well, my favorite white girl, Megan Voss, she holds a hairdryer. Like, get the fuck out of here, this guy. I don't know if I don't meet your heroes. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think some of these guys will be a big letdown.
Okay, so on that then, so what's been your biggest disappointment?
Letdown?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's tough because that's naming names. There's definitely people I just would erase, but again, it's more people who I'm like, you're not relevant. I just needed content.
Yeah,
I was trying to be Mr. Content Creator, and I'm like trying to be like, well, Sunday we need a show,
right?
Yep.
I know that feeling too. I went through that.
And again, I'm also
sorry.
Yeah, no. I want to add that I think it's a big thing, especially nowadays. You have a lot of guys, and we don't have to even name names. Anyone listening you're gonna know already, and it's like they're already doing it all over Instagram, let's say, and they already like put out all these videos, and they're constantly just hitting you with like, look at me, and buy my package, and buy this, and hire me, and whatever. I'll coach you, whatever it is. And it's like, they don't need more interviews. None of these guys.
Yep.
So if they're doing a lot of that, just let them do that. Just be that guy.
Yep.
But don't stop going on podcasts, and podcasters, please stop putting them on. Just stop putting them on. For the love of God.
Yeah.
Put them in the Lars Ulrich, Dave Grohl category. And it's like, just go seek out people who we haven't heard yet. I mean, I want Chuck Biscuits. Do you know who that is?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Just walked away from it all. Like Danzig, Social Distortion, Circle Jerks, holy shit, like a bunch of bands, you know? Just walked away. Like, where is he? Where the fuck is Chuck Biscuits? I would love him, you know? Yeah.
One episode, when I saw it pop up in my feed, when it became available, I went and I read the name and I went, is that the same guy that I'm thinking of? Billy Bob Thornton.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, and you know, he's back in popularity because of Landman.
He's almost like the biggest he's ever been in a way.
Yeah, yeah. But I didn't know he was a drummer. I had no idea. And it's those kind of interviews. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And now there's a guy, nicest guy. Yeah. So excited to be doing the interview. Like he was he was just grinning ear to ear, big shitting grin, didn't want to stop, was like ready to keep going. Just great, man. And he was the kind of guy where, I mean, I'm sitting with him and you're like, oh, I can't even fuck with the guy. Like I couldn't even like see like, being like, come on, bro. What is it like? Tell him what, like, come on. You were banging Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
She was like I couldn't even
Tell me
something.
about the blood. Tell me about the blood.
Exactly. Yeah. I couldn't even have done that to him because he was just so cool. You're like, nah, you can't.
Nah, because the thing about that too was like he's there with you talking about his other passions, right? Not the whole fame and.
But that's what I'm saying. When you're sitting with someone and you can see how excited they are to be talking just drums.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like he was so happy that I wasn't asking him like, let me just ask you about Sling Blade. Like, no, I didn't even do that.
Yep.
I just kept it to the music and he was thrilled. He was fucking thrilled.
Yep. And have you had, I'm sure you've had it where you've sat down and you're starting to talk to someone and, you know, they've got a bit of a guard up because, they've got a feeling that you're going to talk about that thing or this person or whatever, and then you end up not talking about that because, you know, I know it happens to me and I don't give a shit about that stuff. I've got my angle's not the right word, but, you know.
There was a guitar player who's really big and I can't think of his name now. I'm blank. Tim. He's a big session guy, and he played. The key to this. He actually played the lead on Bon Jovi "Runaway." Like it was pre Richie Sambora.
Tim Pierce.
You're a good man. And I went to Tim Pierce's house, and he was kind of a dick, and he was kind of like, "All right, let's get this over with," and just kind of just very, I don't know. And that happened. And then I was at Jeff Babco's Christmas party at his house. And it was like, you know, all these dudes. And so many dudes I already knew. So it's like, there's Tim LaFave and there's, you know, telling me why he really left Tedeschi Trucks. You know what I mean? Like the real shit. Okay.
The real shit. Yeah.
Yeah. The off the record shit. You're like, what? And then, you know, all these guys are there and all of a sudden Jeff Babco's like, dude, Tim Pierce is freaking out that he wants to talk to you. And I was like, okay. And Tim Pierce is like, dude, that episode has changed my life. I got so much this. He started his own YouTube channel after the interview. And it's like, I had no idea. And I looked and it's like, that shit is huge. He has like a massive show or thing or channel on YouTube for guitar people. And is all after the I'd hit that, you know? And he was like, thank you. He was a completely different guy at this party. Like, he was like, thank you so much. A lot of guys are guarded. Like, that goes back to the boring thing too. A lot of guys just have nothing to offer. You know, they don't. They just don't have that David Frangione
line of questioning and that, yeah, the follow up. They're just lacking the Frangione follow up, right?
Yeah, I'm looking for that word. What's that word? Aura, you know? Not everyone can have that Frangione aura, that star power, you know, where you just can't get enough of him. I mean, but seriously, I mean, I love Nate Wood. He's, you know, some people just don't have it, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
They're not that interesting. And they don't want to be. They like, and what's his name? There was the other guy, oh my God, what was his name? I'm trying to think of his name. New York guy, was something big band. He's actually from California, but Jason Lindner, he's a keys player, and he was on the Black Star record with Juliana LaFave, and he was like kind of like you know, he was in the mobile recording unit, and he like reclined the seat all the way back. And I was like, okay, like, was this fucking guy, you know, like, was he like, he ate a couple of shrooms? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, he was acting like a Spaniard, you know, like, just like, you know, we're gonna chill. And then I saw him like months later. I was in Brooklyn. I went to this gig. It was Danziger, and like Dan Weiss was there, and all these guys were there. And I saw Lindner, and I was like, hey man, and he just looked at me. Like, I could see, like, he had no fucking clue who I was. And I was like, okay.
Yep.
So, you know, he's just kind of space cadet-y, you know? And like, they just don't have that much to say. And there's some guys that just have that kind of arms folded. Like, what? What do you want me to say? I don't know. And you're like, fuck off. Why are you here? There was a girl, by the way. I won't say her name. And I said, I want you to come on the show. And she knew the show. And she said, well, what would we talk about? And I just thought, you fucking, like, that question alone, you know? Like, we're going to talk about the World Series. Like, what do you mean, what are we going to talk about? The fuck is the matter with you? You're a professional musician. You know what this show is. Well, what would we talk about?
What about the people that, you know, you try to get, because, you know, to you, and I know, you know, I've got these people on my list that I still contact every now and then, and their responses, I haven't done anything. And these people are the most interesting people, right? But to them, it's like, you know, people don't want to listen to me, or I've got nothing to offer, and I sit back and go, well, you fucking do. You know, if you come on the show, you're the epitome of it. You know, everyone wants to hear you talk. They want to, you know, they want to hear the stories and how you've got to. But it's interesting. And then I've also had this guy that I asked, and I was really, really keen to, you know, have him on the show. And he said to me one day, he goes, oh, so what do you do for a living? And I said, well, I'm an electrical fitter, electrical mechanic. And he goes, have you been doing it for a long time? I said, yeah, I've been doing it most of my life. Are you good at it? Yeah, I think I'm pretty good at it. Okay, can I interview you about your work? And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to fucking, what am I going to? And he just pointed at me and he goes, that right there. And I got it. Yeah. Yeah. He's like, you know, it's my job. It's what I do. Why would people be interested in it? And like, yeah. So that kind of set me back on my hunches that day. And I'm like, wow, yeah, good point. I would not sit down and do an interview about my work, you know, about the personality of my work, you know. So yeah, it's interesting.
It's a funny thing. Like, I don't really want to do this, you know. Like, I don't really want to do interviews, and I don't really feel comfortable in some ways. But at the same time, credit to you. And we've talked before, but like the idea, like it's comfortable.
Yep.
When I'm doing it now, you know what I'm saying? I'm just
That's
talking
it.
to Stevie.
Yep.
That's the idea.
Yep.
Which is a credit to you that I'm comfortable talking to you and I'm forgetting. But in theory, yeah, I don't like it. The idea of it, it's like, nah. So I do appreciate the guys who are like, no, like that Matt Chamberlain kind of thing where he's just like, I'm awkward, you know?
Right.
But yeah, I'm telling you, I'm gonna perfect my Aaron Sterling car video. I mean, I don't know. Is it me? I don't know. Is it me? I don't know. No, I mean, just his whole like frenetic energy. Like, that's what I want to see. I really want to see it. That, and like I said, and the sleepy, hey, it's Dave Varriale, you know, I was just thinking, you know, like his like, you know, like he's just like off the cuff. Like he's like, oh yeah. Like a note to self, you know.
Yeah.
When you're trying to do something, you know, stop trying.
just
let
do.
it. And it's like this kind of, you know, like big thoughts with Dalai Lama, you know, Dalai Lama. Yeah. It's like the way he does it, and it's like I just want to see people mock that and make fun of it, do these, and you could tag me, you know, and make it a thing. Like that's what I hope this interview really gets going. That's what I want to see. How you doing? There's Dan Weiss in his basement. You know, like I can't even. What accent? He does it. Like I love him. We fuck with each other. Like he loves Goodfellas quotes, and we quote we send the Goodfellas texts. But like sometimes he gets like so Italian sounding down there. You know, he's just like, "Hey, you doing?" I'm like Dan Weiss. It's like, you're like, it's like Vinny Boombat's down there. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Swear to God.
Oh.
Yeah, I love it. All right, my friend. Before I start really, you know, tearing some new assholes over here. But for really people, you're listening, you know who I'm talking about. There's guys, they just do too many podcasts. Go away for a little while, you guys. You've done too many. And you know who you are. If you're the guy who's done every fucking drumming podcast there is known to man, go away for a little while.
My man. Thanks, Dave. Good to hang with you again, man. So, yep. Wishing you all the best, and yeah, good luck with the mocking videos. If someone doesn't bring them out, you're gonna, you know, the floor is yours, right?
I mean, I'm not even a good photographer. It's like I'm talking like a photograph of like, I don't know, my foot. Okay, it's not even, you know. I'm like, I'm just. I mean, I play with John Mayer. I don't know. I mean, what do I do? I'm just Aaron Sterling. I don't know. I mean, is it me? Is it me? I cut. You know. Yeah.
Love your work, Dave. Catch you soon, bud.
Sir. I love you. Thank you.
Love you, brother. See you, Ben.